Breaking tonight, Westminster has witnessed nothing short of political detonation. Keir Starmer's career hasn't simply stumbled. It's been publicly dismantled by his own party. A no-confidence vote, an internal rebellion, and at the center of it all, a Brexit betrayal so explosive it's torn Labour apart from within. This is the story of how one secret deal not only toppled a prime minister in real time, but may now alter the course of Britain's future. Just 72 hours ago, everything appeared calm. Starmer was in command, Labour projected unity, and Brexit, we were told, was settled. The government's focus was the economy, the NHS, and the cost of living. But behind the reassuring press statements and smiling photo ops, a very different reality was taking shape. One that would soon trigger the most dramatic collapse of political authority seen in Westminster for decades. Then came the leak. Classified documents reached the press, and the revelations landed like a bomb. Starmer had been in covert talks with Brussels, not minor trade adjustments, but sweeping reversals of Brexit's fundamental terms. Fishing rights restored to the EU. Trade regulations realigned with European standards. And most shocking of all, discussions about allowing European judges jurisdiction on British soil. For millions who voted to take back control, this was nothing short of betrayal. Piece by piece, Starmer appeared to be handing sovereignty back to Brussels. The anger had moved beyond one man. It was now about something deeper, democracy itself. Millions voted for change, and yet again, they felt ignored. Tonight, as the lights burn late inside Downing Street, Starmer's rivals are circling. The knives are out, and Britain, once again, stands on the brink of another political reckoning. Within hours of the vote announcement, Nigel Farage was everywhere, every major network, every front page. His message was sharp, unforgiving, and unmistakable. Karma is the ultimate betrayer of Brexit. Labour's mask has finally slipped. They never respected the will of the people, and now everyone can see it. Fire. The impact was immediate. Reform UK's polling numbers surged overnight. Double-digit gains across key battleground constituencies that could decide the next general election. And while the Conservatives were still staggering from months of internal chaos, they suddenly had a new weapon handed to them. Labour's implosion. But the real danger to Labour wasn't external. It was internal. Inside the party, the knives were already out. Within hours, potential successors were making their moves. Calls to donors, quiet strategy meetings with union leaders, rival camps forming in real time. Labour wasn't regrouping, it was bracing for civil war. One senior analyst summed it up bluntly.
I'm on my way back.
This isn't a leadership crisis. This is an existential breakdown. If Labour doesn't find stability fast, it could splinter beyond repair. Then came the decisive moment, the vote itself. The House of Commons was packed to capacity. Every seat taken, every corridor lined. The press gallery overflowed. The air was thick with tension as MPs filed solemnly through the division lobbies. No jeering, no shouting, only the echo of footsteps and the unspoken weight of political history. When the speaker rose to deliver the result, the silence was absolute. And then, gasp, Starmer had lost. Not by a whisker, but by a crushing margin, one so wide it left no room for doubt. His leadership was finished. Around the chamber, reactions ranged from disbelief to devastation. Some MPs sat frozen. Others slipped quietly through side exits, avoiding the cameras waiting outside. A few broke down, not for Starmer himself, but for what they believed their party had become. Starmer, meanwhile, sat motionless, his gaze fixed ahead, expression unreadable. It was as if the gravity of his downfall had yet to reach him. Moments later, phones across the country lit up with breaking alerts. Keir Starmer ousted in historic no-confidence vote. News anchors scrambled to update live broadcasts. Protesters outside Parliament erupted in cheers. The chants of traitor and Brexit betrayal grew louder as word spread. But what makes this moment so significant isn't just the fall of a political leader. It's what it reveals, a deep and growing fracture in the nation's trust. When those leaks surfaced, the backlash was instantaneous and devastating. But it didn't come first from the opposition. It came from Labour's own ranks. The same MPs who had stood by Starmer through controversy after controversy suddenly turned against him en masse. Private WhatsApp groups lit up with outrage. Emergency meetings were called in dimly lit committee rooms. And within a single day, the unimaginable became reality. A formal motion of no confidence, tabled against their own leader. One senior Labour MP described the moment as the most traumatic day in the party's modern history. Another said bluntly, "We realized we'd been deceived by the one man we trusted." The signatures came fast, not from fringe rebels or ideological outliers, but from the heart of the party. Senior shadow ministers, veteran MPs, even those personally promoted by Starmer himself. The mutiny was total, and its cause unmistakable: betrayal. Inside Westminster, the atmosphere turned toxic. Tempers flared. Shouting matches erupted behind closed doors, echoing through the corridors of power. One aide described hearing a senior figure say coldly, "He's finished. We're not going down with him." Another insider called it the party turning its gun on itself, with everyone pulling the trigger. This wasn't factional warfare. It wasn't orchestrated by the left or the centrists. It was spontaneous, a complete implosion driven by loss of trust. By the time Starmer's team realized the scale of the rebellion, the avalanche was unstoppable. Outside Parliament, the country reacted with disbelief and anger. In the north, in Sunderland, Hartlepool, Grimsby, the very towns that handed Labour its comeback in 2024, voters felt betrayed. For them, Brexit wasn't an abstract policy debate. It was a promise, a democratic commitment that Labour had sworn to uphold. One fisherman in Grimsby told reporters, voice trembling with anger, "We voted to take our country back in 2016. We trusted Labour to protect that. And now look, they've tried to give it away again. We won't forget this." His words spread like wildfire. Social media ignited. Starmer out and Brexit betrayal dominated every platform. Clips of voters confronting MPs flooded timelines. And by nightfall, Westminster was surrounded. Hundreds swelling into thousands, waving Union Jacks, chanting traitor into the cold October air. Trust in leadership. Trust in Parliament. Trust in the principle that when the British people cast a vote, their will is respected. And that trust tonight stands broken. Labour is now in free fall. The party has split into warring factions, each blaming the other for the collapse. On one side, traditionalists demand a return to Labour's working-class roots, arguing the party lost its identity the moment it drifted away from its base. On the other, centrists call for a full reset, a push to rebuild credibility with business, international partners, and moderate voters. The result is chaos. Leadership bids launched before Starmer's chair had even gone cold. Accusations of betrayal fly across WhatsApp groups and media briefings. The party is fighting itself in broad daylight. Meanwhile, outside the chaos, Nigel Farage and Reform UK are seizing their moment. Every headline, every scandal, every sign of disarray fuels their momentum. The movement he built on defiance is now reshaping British politics once again. If Labour collapses entirely and Reform consolidates that anger, the traditional two-party system that has defined this nation for a century could soon be history. And as dawn broke over Westminster, Keir Starmer emerged from number 10 for the final time. Cameras flashed relentlessly. Protesters shouted from behind steel barriers. The man who once promised to restore faith in British politics, to unite a divided nation, walked away as its latest casualty. His downfall didn't come at the hands of his opponents. It was the product of his own decisions, secret negotiations, broken promises, and a fundamental misreading of the public's mood. He believed he could sidestep the fury of Brexit voters. He was wrong, catastrophically wrong. Now, one question echoes across Britain's political landscape. If Brexit can destroy yet another political giant, who will be next? This story is far from over. Labour's leadership contest is about to become one of the most brutal internal battles in modern history. Reform UK is rising, the Conservatives are regrouping, and the fallout from this night will reshape Westminster for years to come. Stay tuned, because what happens next will define the future of British politics.